What's up, y'all? My name's Tim Ream. I'm here today on the 43rd day of 75 hard. We're going to be doing hamstrings. We'll throw abs in there at the beginning, then get into the leg workout. It'll be pretty brief and infrequent, whatever. You guys will see kind of how I do it. And yeah, let's get into it. I'm gonna start out with abs.
Solution possible, and then move forward from there. I think this is awesome. I see these questions and stories. We're seeing a lot more younger people coming in, starting businesses. I think it's great. Well, dude, listen, this is hard shit. Like what I just explained. Like, yeah, I can rip it off. It sounds real easy, but remember, I was a young, dumb entrepreneur that at 19 years old didn't know shit. Okay, so I've done this and made all these mistakes so many times, bro. It's insane. This is experience, bro. This is not. You're not supposed to just know this shit. You know what I mean? Yes. I love that, man. One thing I want to follow up on this question though, when you talk about conflict resolution, right, with your partners or even execs. Have you found it to be difficult when, let's say you're a passionate person, right? And then, your whole team, they're also passionate people, right? Like, how have you handled those conversations when it's like, it's not necessarily, okay, my decision is the best, but you truly believe that you have the best goal, and somebody else does as well, and you guys are equally passionate on it. How do you have those conversations? Well, I'm overpowered. You have to know yourself first, okay? So I have this, and you guys all know, all the guys here in this room are talking about. I have an overpowering passion. I can walk into a room and there can be 10 other passionate people. In 3 seconds, they'll shut up. Okay? Real talk. But that's not good. That's a hindrance to me. Because what ends up happening is the rest of the guys shut up and I don't hear the good ideas. Okay? So we have to understand that sometimes you shutting the fuck up is what produces the best result. So how do I address that? It's hard, okay, because I am passionate. But I have to sometimes remember, like, all right, look, just shut up and let them talk, let them say their shit, let everybody go, and then you go at the end.
Oh.
So that's something that has happened. But, dude, real talk.
It's kind of hard getting in here today. I went to a concert this weekend,
Sometimes I do know the answer.
which I usually don't do.
All right. This is a weakness of my leadership.
It just knocked out my routine, man. So I haven't filmed in probably 2 days.
Like I already know.
And just got out of the motion of things. And so I'm like gearing back in, getting all of my goals and all of my stuff back in my line of sight. Threw off my schedule, threw off my routine a little bit. You should be able to operate even if you get mixed out, like thrown out of your routine. But it's just a little hard to get back into it. So it's the first day I'm getting back into it since like Friday, Saturday. I don't know, whatever. But
I don't know, 12, 15 years ago.
I found whenever I get off track, it's usually because I end up filling up on a bunch of bullshit from fucking media, or just like I get my attention and my eyes on something else, and then that kind of is the thing that catches momentum. So you start getting into that area, dude, you gotta start pumping the brakes and then start filling up on the shit that you know is gonna bring you the result that you want. So needless to say, this is kind of a workout day where I'm like maybe gonna be going through the motions, but I'm here and I'm just getting back in the swing of things. A couple days shouldn't knock you out, but I kind of spend it just laying around and shit. It's like feel like shit, could have done better. It is what it is, man. I still move forward, the needle forward on a couple things, so I can at least rest on that, but I know I'm capable of more, so it's like that always just fucking sit in the back of your head talking. Also, I don't like the feeling of not walking around super fucking confident. Whenever I'm like, not hitting everything I know I should be and moving my life forward in the way that I should be, then I'm walking around kind of with my head hanging a little bit, just trying to get through the day, don't want anybody to notice me. And, there's a little mental aspect to not doing and giving life your all too, so kind of ready to just get back out there and have that confidence of knowing I'm doing all the shit I know I'm supposed to fucking do when nobody's watching, you know? Because I'm telling you, that's what makes the difference. Like, you see that guy in line, or he walks in the room, it's like, whoa, that motherfucker's different. Well, he's different because he does everything that you know you should be doing, and he knows he does it. And he walks and brings that into the room with him. He works out, he's fucking, you know, a beast financially. He's, you know, paying attention to his family. He's educating his mind. Like, he's doing everything that you probably know that you should be doing. We all know what to do, you know, but only certain people will do it. So it's like whenever you actually do it day in and day out, you don't have to prove it to anybody. You know, you walk around with it. You've proved it to yourself. So, you know, and I've noticed a clear difference in between having the mindset of I've been doing this and I haven't been doing it. And it feels way better whenever you know you've been doing it. So I'm going to do about maybe 3 or 4 of these. Just kind of rest, pause, sit-ups, and then get into the hamstring workout.
You're never going to get ahead. You're going to get bitter. You're going to look around and everybody's passing you by. No, they're not passing you by. You're not learning a very real skill set that you must have to be successful, which is to communicate. So if you can't communicate, you have less value. This is a real thing. And so when you look at your little 5-year-old son and you say, I want to set a good example for him, right now, you are not setting a good example for him. I'll tell you that right now. He is learning right now to be passive, to be weak, to go with the flow. And what will end up happening is that kid will grow up witnessing his dad be this way, and then he will be that way, and he's going to get the same shit you're getting, which is probably not much right now. Okay, so learning how to communicate effectively is
was good. One of the reasons I went to the concert because I sponsor and mentor some guys around the tables. Like, you know, I got a background in addiction, and so kind of caught up with one of the guys. Went out there, had some good conversations. We talked about like self-esteem and self-worth, really where it comes from. And a lot of the schools of thought is just look in the mirror and tell yourself that you love you until you do. Well, if you actually did love yourself, then why do you feel the need to look in the mirror and tell yourself that you love yourself? Because deep down you know you fucking don't. What the fuck? So it ain't that. That's not going to do it. Only action is going to do it. Only you doing what you know you're supposed to be doing day in and day out and building that up, right? It's like you're making an investment. You got net worth and you got self-worth. Like, if you're chipping away at yourself, doing dumbass shit all the time, then why would you be building self-worth and self-esteem? Like, you're literally chipping away at yourself. You're eating bad food. You know you're eating bad food, but you're going to eat more bad food. You're not working out. You know you should be working out, but you continue to not work out. Like, you're literally taking blocks out of your wall. And your wall of self-esteem. And I was starting to tell him, like, it's actually doing, you know, the action behind those things you know you should be doing. And that's what's actually going to build up your self-esteem. It's going to be hard, dude. And it's meant to be hard because, and not because, but it's just going to make the journey and the end result that much more worth it. If you don't work for something, then you'll discard it. You know, it's easy to say fuck it and throw everything down the drain when you don't have anything. But, you know, if you're 3, 4, 5 years in, you built up material possessions, you built yourself up spiritually, mentally, physically, and you've got all this stuff, material-wise, it's harder to say fuck it and throw it all down the drain because you realize what it actually took to actually get that shit. So, you know, self-esteem and self-worth is totally built, and it's built on doing hard stuff. And even hard stuff for you whenever you start out is very small stuff, like finishing a book. If you got to start there, then start there. You know, that's another block in there, but eventually it builds up into bigger tasks, and you're starting to be able to really have discipline in those areas of life that you know, really are moving you forward in a big way. But if if it starts small, if it's got to start small, start small. You got to start somewhere, dude. So, you know, that's self-esteem and self-worth. That's what it really is. Because once you do those hard things and you're a day in and day out motherfucker and you know it, and you're making more progress than you are, like, not making progress, like, if you're doing it more times than you're not, like, that's a big fucking deal. You know you're moving your life forward, and you can take that with you. It's just the aura and vibe that you put off.
You know how many times I got told fucking moron today? Like, you guys read the comments on some of these videos on the internet? Like, if I'd actually listened to them, like, I would, what would I do? I would go home and cry every day? Like, those people, I don't give a shit, man. I'm gonna say what I gotta say, and however you react to it is okay with me. Dude, that's a place of freedom that you want to get to, okay? Because when you're afraid to say things, when you're afraid to speak the truth, or you're afraid to communicate, you are living in an environment that owns you, okay? If you want to feel free, and you want to feel light, and you want to feel good, you have to develop the skill of communication, but also, two, the courage to say the way things are, even when it's uncomfortable. And if you can do those two things, like you and I do on the CTI episodes every day, bro, I walk around, a lot of people are like, they're like, how do you do all that? Like, how do you, bro, that's gotta be hard. I'm like, it's real easy, man. When I move my mouth, the shit comes out.
And we also got into talking about,
and like, what are they gonna do?
I was telling them how gratitude is action. And if you think about it, if you say, oh, I'm grateful for my cat, I'm grateful for all this, whatever it is. Like, okay, if you actually were grateful, you wouldn't have to tell yourself you're grateful. Like, you're grateful for your kids, how do you treat them? Okay? Because if you were truly grateful, then you would actually be putting some action behind it. You wouldn't be letting any of the time slip, you would be making the most out of it. So really, saying I'm grateful for this or I'm grateful for that is just an acknowledgement that you're actually slacking in that area. And you know you should probably be more grateful for it, but you're actually fucking not. And it's kind of the same with, it's almost like saying sorry. You know you should be sorry for it, but you're truly not, but your actions still don't. Like, if your actions don't change after that, then are you truly sorry? You know? It's like bullshit, man. So, it's like, you know, the thing I was just talking about, like looking in the mirror and saying, I love myself, but deep down, you know you're searing your conscious, dude. Subconsciously, you know you're not happy with yourself. And whenever you can start getting honest with yourself, that you're in your heart of hearts, like you're saying in the mirror, but it's like, nah, something's off, you know? Like whenever you can start getting honest with yourself at your heart of hearts, dude, when no one's looking, just you, and start moving off of like what's inside of you and getting honest with yourself in those deep places on those different areas of life, dude, and start making those changes. It's like, you know, actions bring consequences, and they might be 1 or 2 or 3 or 4 layers out from the actual you know, decision that you made. Well, if you try to deal with the consequence and try to change the consequence, it ain't gonna matter. Like, unless you get down to the root cause and change it right at the epicenter of what's really going on, then boom, you got a new trajectory now. You know, 1 inch down here is gonna be 1,000 miles away, you know, as it extends out and it reverberates, right? And so really getting down to the heart of hearts, like what drives you, what makes you tick, why am I doing what I'm doing? Why? And figuring out what the fuck is going on, dude, so you can change it at the root. Because unless you can deal with the symptoms, but unless you deal with the root cause and change it there, then there is actually going to be no change that actually occurs. I'd say a lot right now, we're lacking a lot of vital introspection, self-reflection, and just we're outer-directed people, right? And blaming out things on the outer world. We're projecting outwards whenever actually everything that is going to change us is on the inside. You know, once we change on the inside, then our entire outer world changes because our perspective changes.
I didn't have any good friends.
It's a maturity thing, but you know, sometimes you don't grow out of that.
Well, they're not seeing it because you're not allowing them to see it. So we cannot live in this, bro. And honestly, this works itself into what's going on in the world today. Okay, the reason a lot of you guys won't speak up and stand up is for the same reasons we're talking about now. You're afraid of what might happen. You're afraid of what could happen. You're afraid of what so-and-so will think. And then you live the rest of your life dealing with the results of that and having frustration, when in reality, dude, it's just a little bit of courage. And look at the way society has been for the last however many years, the last 10 years at least, where so many people disagree with the way society is going, but it continues to go that way. Why? Okay, why aren't they talking about it? Because the other team has figured out that if they shame them and they make them feel stupid and they insult them and they bully them, then that person will remain silent. But those people that remain silent lose. They lose. There's no nobility in the silent majority. There's no nobility in, political correctness.
And I wanted to switch all the way to the blood and guts routine, like completely. Chest and biceps in the same workout. I think it was legs, one day off, then it's back, next day it's shoulders and triceps. But I don't like having more than 7 workouts in an actual session because you're going to such intensity. And if I throw calves in there with chest and biceps, it's just a fucking lot. It's just a lot, man, going to heavy sets to failure every single set. I mean, and systemically, you just really can't maintain it. But basically, I'd have to do abs and calves on a different day if I want to keep up the same frequency. And I feel like, especially with abs, I don't want to take them out of there because it's kind of where I add in a bunch of, the stuff that I'm motivational type of content, just talking about diet and a bunch of those other aspects. So they wouldn't be on film anymore. And I feel like those are really whenever I bring a lot of unadulterated, just pure stuff. I really like those times. I look forward to Ab Day, just kind of fucking talking to you guys, getting some of the stuff that's out of my mind out on film, out to the world. Not that it's anything special, but I think that people who think and have logical progressions and who have actually really started to educate their minds, done a lot of introspection, cross-reference it with the real world to see if it applies, I think that's rare. And I know I do bring a rare train of thought to the table that most people aren't really on, because I feel like most people are surface level as fuck, dude. So they want to talk about the weather. It's like, I don't give a fuck about the fucking weather, bro. I don't want to talk about the motherfucking weather. Look, the sun's shining, yep. What's there to talk about? I want to talk about ideas that are going to push our fucking life forward, right? I don't give a fuck about the weather, bro. All right, so we're going to start out, do a bunch of warm-up sets here for my knees and my legs, get them all warmed up. I'm going to basically go a heavy set to failure and get them pre-exhausted for Romanian deadlifts and squats, and just kind of start amping up the intensity, but get our fucking hamstrings going. Other times we have real talk is 5 to 20 minutes. Yep. Start out with hamstrings. Yeah, and I feel like also Dorian had quads and hamstrings on the same day. I want to say he probably did and he did calves too. So I don't feel like I can give the attention to each body part like I would like to, as if I have them either hamstrings on one day and quads on one day, or even a split, like an AM and PM split. I just don't feel like I can hit them the way I actually want to. So having just one big main leg day, I'm not too big about that idea. But so yeah, there's kind of a few things about the routine that I'm kind of gonna tweak a bit.
Without the traditional help that most people have. They have investors.
This is one of the exercises I hadn't really got on film for you guys too much. Is hamstrings and the leg workouts.
Lessons with you guys for free here on the show. And I only ask you one simple thing. I don't ask you, I don't pitch you, I don't do all this stuff. I ask you one simple thing. It's this. If you get value from the show, please share the show. All right? I get censored everywhere I go because I do not hold back. I need you guys know that. And so I need you guys to share the show for the message to be heard. So
last time that I did hamstrings was 5 days ago. So it should be sufficient rest. As I've been talking about, I'm at that calorie deficit, so I'm really not seeing too many strength increases, which I've been thinking about. Like, I mean, if you don't have anything, basically, whenever you are working out, you're going to create basically a dip in your body's resources. And your body has to first cope to that dip, what was taken out first, and then you got to overcompensate, which is, this is where we actually build the muscle now. And the thing with that is, if you don't have calories, then you can't actually build anything. You know, you can't create something from nothing. But, and so I've been saying, like, I'm not real worried about strength increases right now in this calorie deficit, because there's just, it's kind of, I mean, it's against physics. I mean, you can't create something from nothing. I don't have anything there to actually put back, but you can argue that your body will steal calories from fat, which I do have. And they did the Colorado experiment where Casey the Aider basically put on like 45 pounds of muscle, and then he actually dropped 17 pounds worth of fat. So they counted that as like 60, whatever that is, 60, 55, what is that, 63 pounds total, 62 pounds total or some shit of muscle, total muscle gain. So they said he actually stole calories from fat to, you know, build muscle. Now I don't know how that fits in with the protein and the carbohydrate synthesis, since it's actually, you know, just mainly body fat. I don't know how that works. It sounds plausible. Sounds like, I mean, there's calories in your body, so why wouldn't it use that to kind of put back some of your stores if it's needed? I think it's once you get so lean and you don't have body fat really to pull from is whenever it's going to start. I'm basically saying, like, there probably still should be some strength increases because I've got body fat, theoretically. So I was just thinking about that the other day.
Like this big, put some of that on you. I'm like, because this, I've never seen this before in my life. He said, just put it on there. And I'm like, fine.
Do a couple more warm-up sets.
Like, it made me feel better, like considerably better. Whatever's in that, like, I don't know, it's only a matter of time before they make it illegal. You know, because it actually works. It'll be black market for sure. Yeah. Especially after this episode. You know, trying that Tiger Bomb, dude? That's what's called, right? Yeah, that stuff is great. I think you can get it like CVS, Walgreens, you know. A little bitty jar, dude. It's expensive. You don't need much. No. But that's the thing, that little bitty jar last year, whatever there it is. Bro, that stuff, that's the real deal stuff right there, man. Pain relieving ointment. That really works. It's like big game. That's the less one.
Another thing that I've seen and have been dealing with, because this is like some of the first times that I've really done a serious cut at a serious calorie deficit rather than just winging it. This is like me putting my food on a scale and tracking my calories and all of that. But basically, I feel like actually one of the really big components right now that is actually helping me cut down a lot is fasting. And I'm basically just eating one meal at night with all of my macros, carbs, fats, proteins, all in one meal. And the thing is, like, if you, I think the big thing about it is once you eat that meal, you actually want to feel full. Because if I'm going to bed hungry, it's like, fuck, dude. So basically finding foods that actually fill you up. Like I could eat, 2,000 or 1,200 calories, and it's a mass like that big, which is gonna leave my stomach empty. Or I can eat bigger, fluffier type of foods that's the same amount of calories, but it's actually got more almost like I don't know, mass to it, which is going to make me feel full. So I'm actually still experimenting a little bit with the types of foods, and you can actually do a lot of different stuff like, get carb-free stuff or fat-free or whatever, which is going to bring your calories down. It's going to bring your fat and carb intake down, but it's actually going to make you full. So there's ways to experiment with the type of food intake that you are bringing in so you actually are fucking full instead of just walking around hungry all the time. It doesn't have to be that hard. And that gets you into a calorie is a calorie. I don't believe that. Like if I'm trying to, and it's all based on my theory, it's based on I'm trying to reach my fullest potential. I'm trying to maximize my results to the fullest. So if I'm eating Krispy Kremes, donuts, and I'm saying, it's a carb, whatever, bro. Like, yeah, sure, you can say no. Like, I mean, if you ate like a healthy carbohydrate with actual vitamins and minerals in it, like, that's always going to be better than if I slam fucking donuts, So I think it's to each their own, but if you want to get technical, I don't believe a calorie is a calorie. I think you can have more beneficial calories than others. Like carbohydrates are practically empty of vitamins and nutrients, especially enriched carbohydrates versus fats, which have a lot of minerals and vitamins in it already. So fats aren't actually necessarily the boogeyman. So I guess what I'm trying to say is if you're trying to maximize your results, then it is actually important about figuring out what the fuck you should be eating, why and when, and trying to maximize and get correct and certain nutrients in there at all times. Why would I? And I'll guarantee you there'd be a difference in strength and everything if you're actually eating clean foods with vitamins and minerals and amino acids versus I'm eating fucking Krispy Kremes. Like, oh, well, the people doing it, they're young. Well, it doesn't fucking matter, dude. Like, that means they would have that much more of a strength gain, Like, to me, it just does not add up. Alright, I'm going to do basically one set, pre-exhaust the hamstrings a little bit, and then go into my heavy set to failure with the hamstrings here.
Put it up on your shoulder as a good chip when you need it because you don't feel like you have what it takes to get done what needs to be done today. You think about what they say and you go do it. And that's how you use it in a healthy way. People try to say, oh, that's not a healthy way. You should only be motivated by the people who believe in you. Well, if you're only motivated by the people who believe in you, you're not going to be very motivated because most people won't have anybody that believes in you. That's the whole point. Right. And when you talk about this idea with people about how you should prove people the believers right instead of
all right. I could keep going with that. I've definitely got more reps in the tank. But I've introduced the burn and the pump, so I'm gonna add some weight. Wait just a few seconds before that burn and that pump wears off, and then just fucking blast it home for one heavy set to failure here. And not necessarily heavy, but just a set to failure with a good manageable weight.
As just the people who believe in you when you first say what it is you're going to do, you're not going to have any fuel. So you have to use the negative fuel. You have to shove it down people's throats. You have to remember all the shit that people said. Because that's
and one reason too, that I don't really want to do a quad and a hamstring all in one day is because I've got a really good progression. I do squats for quads and I do squats for hamstrings. hamstring doesn't, or quad, or squats don't really and haven't been traditionally a workout for hamstrings, but whenever you pre-exhaust with leg curls, Romanian deadlifts, and then you do squats, after you've already pre-exhausted hamstrings, I'm telling you, it blasts your freaking hamstrings. And I want to keep those on separate days so I can be also building up my squat strength every about 3 days, you know, instead of just once a week with one big leg day. All right, let's get into this set here. Time's dragging on a little bit, but
I don't know what you thought or what you said. I fucking know it. Okay? And I'm going to take that and I'm going to continue to win. And every time I win, I'm going to smile in your face and shake your hand and you say you're proud of me. And then I'm going to walk 5 steps down the way and be like, I'll show you. And that's how it works, bro. Like, it's reality. They think it's mean. Those people were mean to you when you started. But in fact, they actually gave you a massive gift if you know that people use the dark side. So, it's not a bad thing. Don't let these spiritual people try to convince you that this is a bad way to live. Because reality is that in the beginning, especially, you need it. Now, as you progress down the path, and as you get some success, and as you prove to these people that you're not just regular breed of a human being like they are, you're actually doing things. Motivation and drive will fit, and it will become purpose motivated. Because if you just operate on that dark side energy forever, what will happen is...
Alright, I'm going to go over here to Romanian deadlift. I'm not going to do the total deadlift all the way up and lock out. I'm just going to do kind of the bottom range of motion, like that bottom 90-degree angle. Just keep that constant tension on the hamstrings the entire time. Definitely feel that after these leg curls. Okay, so I mean, I've gotten everything warmed up at this point, the hamstrings, so from here on out, I'm basically just going to do one warm-up set and then a heavy set to failure, and that's it.
From a customer standpoint, and we're changing these people's lives from an employee standpoint, and we can build a culture that actually changes the entire landscape of business. And then it becomes, we can not just change the landscape of business, we can change the landscape of culture as a whole. You see, so the vision is getting bigger and bigger and bigger, but in the beginning, all you got is people that don't believe you. So it's okay to use that energy. In fact, if you don't use it, I think you're going to have to. So, have you had people in your life that flipped? And what I mean by that is, like, in the beginning, they actually did believe in you, maybe genuinely, but then once you start making a success, they flipped to being envious, maybe you're jealous. I mean, what's your take on that? Well, first of all, no, because those people, they never flipped because they were pretending it was good. So you're saying it wasn't good? No, yeah, they're pretending. It's fake belief. It's fake love. Okay? It's fake support. They're hoping that you fail. And then they can be there and be like, man, you tried. You guys continue to waste your life away at some bar on a Wednesday afternoon. Right? Like, that's the mentality of how these people from the old neighborhood are going to treat you when you go out. So there's not like a whole lot of people that truly believe in you, right? You might have a couple, you might have a parent, or you might have a brother, or you might have, somebody that's close to you that like is really, but people will show you how they believe in you to help you win. People that actually believe in you will help you win. People who don't believe in you will say, oh, I believe in you, and then they're gone. Right? And then they'll throw back up whenever you have the good times happening, right? You have the money, you have the exciting events. You build something, right? And they'll come out of the woodwork. But the reality is people have a hard time being happy for success. And the unfortunate reality is that once you get to a certain level of success, it does change your friendship dynamics with most people, because the reality of like a very high level life is that when you talk about it, like if we were all out to dinner and I was around a bunch of people that just had like normal jobs, right? And I'm talking about what I do, that perception to them is that I'm bragging, right? Where it's not comprehensible. Well, dude, like the perception is I'm bragging. When in fact, I'm just talking about the reality of my life. Right. When people say that thing, you change, they don't understand that they're actually giving you a compliment. You know what I'm saying? The point is to change. The point is to evolve. The point is to get better. And when you keep surrounding yourself with people who have refused to go on that journey, they're going to hate you for just going. So, you know, the reality of business, and this is why I talk about the relationships changing over the course of time. Today, if you continue to go up that path of achievement and drive and success, those people will not be your friends in 5 years. You'll have a new set of friends. And there will be a set of friends who are aligned with what it is you're trying to do then. And then in 5 more years...
Form was definitely a little sloppy on that.
But the idea that, you know, it's lonely at the top is not a true idea. That's a loser's perspective of what
Actually, I hate that.
Looks like. All right?
Whenever I go to my set to failure, like I want to go to failure knowing that I was as focused as I possibly could have been on that muscle group, that I'm working. But sometimes you put on too much weight and you go to failure like that and you're like, damn, I could have been more focused, but I'm still only going to do one.
Pursue your own true potential and become better and better and better and better, are better and better and better and better. They're just less in numbers. I have less people that I talk to, but the relationships that I have.
I should technically be stronger next time I do this exercise. But, and I will be, just because I went to failure, but, yeah. And I'm sure I'll probably still feel it in the hamstrings, but I didn't necessarily get my form down too good on that. To get strict form right on the hamstrings and glutes. Alright, so next exercise is squats. Doing it for hamstrings. Over on the machine over here. Do one set to warm up. And then one set to failure here.
Do you understand how valuable the tool is that you have in your pocket right now? Do you understand that you can reach people for literally free without having to go anywhere? Like, do you guys forget this? Like, do you forget this exists? You guys don't remember because a lot of you aren't old enough to remember what it was like before that. Okay? Here's a real question. In 1999, before the internet was the internet, there was no social media. How do you get attention for your brick and mortar business that you just started for 12 grand, where you got every single thing that you've ever had in your entire life sunk into it? How do you get customers? That's a real fucking problem. Okay, that's a real thing to think about. Okay, and this is why I get upset when people ask these kind of questions. You have apps in your phone that are free that expose you to people. Period. Okay, and you don't need 10,000 people. You need 10. All right, and then you take those 10 and you provide them with the best donut they've ever had, including the best experience they've had buying a donut they've ever had. And then those 10 people go out and tell their entire social media network about this new donut they had from this 7-year-old girl who's amazing, who also nailed the customer experience and is actually doing something very cool. Okay, now you're leveraging attention. All right, so great product, great experience. Free social media. That's the point. You should consider yourself extremely lucky to live in this day and age when it comes to entrepreneurship because of the free attention that you're able to leverage. That was not an option for me when I started my company. That was not an option for any of these companies that you see out here on the street.
Got out here a little bit late.
That were started pre-year.
Usually get out here about 7 a.m. But the light's been off. Keep shutting the camera down. Basically, as the light, the sun comes up, the light changes. And as the light changes, the camera has to refocus. And it fucking shuts off, dude. Fucking pisses me off. But, so I've been trying to get out here a little bit later. But then, if it's too late, then the bugs are out, dude. There's just like 1,000 fucking gnats everywhere. There's been a few videos that I made that you just see nothing but gnats flying around the camera and buzzing the whole fucking time. It's like, motherfucker. So, I think it's like 7:30 or 8 o'clock. If I can be out here and start within that window, then I can miss the light and I can miss the bugs. Alright, we'll get into this sets failure here. And no belt.
I mean, I was going to ask you as a follow-up. Do you think, I mean, especially in this day and age, because listen, we know for a fact there's a lot of kids, a lot of young people out there who are socially awkward. Right? So I'd rather be the point of pulling on the gas on social media if you don't have those social interpersonal skills, communication skills, right?
Well, that's why you should be low. Because you're going to learn it. You'll learn the personal skills through the reps.
Right.
You know, this is why I recommend young people, you know, who want to become successful. And they always turn their nose up at this when I say it. But dude, you should go get a retail environment job in a high traffic establishment for the reps alone. The ability to talk to many people on a daily basis is a massive driver of your skill set that most people will never get. The reason I can do what I do is because for years and years and years and years, I talk to dozens and dozens and dozens and dozens of people every single day. All right, and then I was passionate about it. I was coaching myself. I was breaking down the interactions. I was thinking about how can I say this, or how can I do this, or what can I do better. So when you become intentional about improving your people skills, most people can't compete with you. Like, because it's all people. You can use all the technology you want, but at the end of the day, there's going to come a time when you're going to have to actually connect with real people. Like, you can't do that. You're a massive disadvantage to the people who can. And the people who can are becoming less and less and less and less, which makes it a massive opportunity to go out and intentionally create the skill set.
So build a great product, build a great buying experience, communication skills, and go get it.
Yes, yeah, and you've never been able to do this for less money or less effort in the history of Earth. So, you know, like, I don't have sympathy for people who come to me and go, I don't know how to get traffic to my business. Well, you got 2 feet, right? You see those doors over there? You can knock on them. You know, at the bare minimum, do that. Yeah. See, and this is why I talk about zero options mentality, because that's scary, right?
Right.
But at the beginning of my business, no, there was no other option for me. Dude, you know how terrified I was to go knock on fucking doors, bro? That's terrifying. But I didn't have an option. And I knew that if I didn't do it, guess what? I'm going out of business. Okay? So learn to cultivate that mentality. Like, it's all or nothing, bro. I still come to work after 25 years. I'll be 25 years in this game on January 1st. Okay? After 25 years, I still come to work convinced that if I don't give my best, we are going out of business. And that is an absurd thought to people. Like, people laugh at me. They see my life, they see the companies we've built, they see all the shit going on that we're working on. I come here every day, like, convinced, and I know it's not, like, when I stop, I almost have to stop and think about it sometimes that it's not true. That's how much I've convinced myself that it's true. And that's important. Because, dude, the minute you get lazy, the minute you get the lack of urgency, the minute that you let off the gas, bro, there's a whole bunch of hungry people behind you doing the same thing. They're gonna beat you. So, like,
and that's real.
Yeah. So, like, dude, cultivating this zero options mentality, I must do this or else I will lose everything, is a massive driver for the entrepreneur. Now, if you go talk to the online, you know, spiritual gurus, they'll say, well, that's a very you know what I'm saying? Yeah. So, yeah.
All right, so I'm gonna do basically 1 set to failure on leg curls, double legs. Then I'm gonna go into a single leg curls for each side, and then be done with hamstrings. Add a little bit of weight here. Talking 25. Definitely feel it. The squats kind of put me over the edge there. It's where I actually feel a burn and shit. I didn't really feel them on Romanian Deadlift. That kind of put it over the edge there. It's where I feel it now. It's like I like doing the pre-exhausting, like pre-exhaust hamstrings with leg curls before I get into the other exercises. Because I feel like once you introduce that burn and you fatigue that muscle, then it's like it becomes a weak link in a chain. And whenever you put weight on that chain, it's all focused right there. And I feel like it's a better way to get isolated and focused on that muscle group you're working. If you can at least kind of burn it out or get it good and burning to begin with, then I feel like it just makes all the other exercises more complete and focused on that actual muscle group you're looking to work. So I really believe in the method. Alright, we go into the double leg. And this is what I'm talking about. If I still had to do quads, I'd be like, oh, fuck, dude. Because you've already expended so much energy just on going to failure with the hamstrings. So it's like, you're either going to have to slack off the hamstrings because you have quads coming up, or you're going to totally pre-exhaust hamstrings and then go easy on quads. It's like, to me, it's just, I don't think having, as a beginner, first coming in here, just doing a couple exercises for both, no big deal. But once you start to get to the point where you're really wanting to focus, you're wanting to hit it from different angles with different muscle, or with different exercises, I'm sorry, but unless you want to have a 2-hour fucking leg day, which I don't, then splitting them up is the best way to do it. And you got, even with doing that, like, legs are a big old muscle. It ain't like it's your bicep that needs to recover. It's basically what, a third of your entire body, 2/5 or some shit, that's gonna basically call on all of the reserves in your body to heal. Like, dude, if you're only doing half of that, I just feel like systemically it's gonna put less of a demand on your natural resources to cope to that stress you just put it on. So it's kind of a recovery ability thing too, but I just can't possibly focus on it like I want to. Both muscle groups at the same time. Alright. Go 1 set to failure with left leg and then the right.
I feel like sometimes even like just getting those things done, what you know you get done, sometimes that's what you can pull you out of those things. No one talks about that. No one talks about how anxiety is actually just an indicator to remind you of the shit that you're putting off that needs to be done. Right? And then what they do is instead of like seeing anxiety for what it is, which is important for you to do things that you know mind and you know you can do that, instead of doing that, right? Hold on. Then you take a break, and the break creates more anxiety because you're creating more distance between you and what you know is supposed to be done. All right? So you should be looking at these feelings as an
is off. And it's not that you're overwhelmed. It's that you're not executing on what you're supposed to be executing on. If you were actually getting up every day and you were eating the right food and you were training and you were executing your list against what it is you're trying to become in life, whether it's an entrepreneur, a musician, an athlete, whatever, okay? And you were doing that every single day, you might wake up with some anxiety and some frustration, but you know what's going to happen? There's going to be a conversation that clicks in your brain and you're like, bro, I did my shit yesterday. I did it the day before that. I did it the day before that. I did it the day before that. I'm a fucking man. And that conversation,
And if you've noticed, I'm putting a hand there, either on one side or the next, but making sure I'm keeping it flexed the entire time. You can feel it around, you're like, yeah, it's flexed where I want it to be, all that shit. And, you know, there's nuance to this. Like, I feel like I know how to get, like with triceps, thrust it down right into that flexed position and then work the negative up real good. I feel like I've learned to hit the whole head with the movements. And so, you know, you got all these different movements that you're trying to perfect. Back movements, arm movements, shoulder movements, leg movements, quads, hamstrings. Like, you know, there's some nuance to it to where I'm still figuring out what ranges of motions and the squeeze and just how to really focus right where I'm wanting it to. So, you know, it is what it is, just a time thing. Still learning some of that shit, getting it down. All right, so.
I got something wrong. But I had a day like last week. It's really me too, where I missed my cold plunge in the morning.
So that is the hamstring workout. Today was day 43 of 75 hard, hamstrings and abs. I appreciate you guys who are following along with me, engaging in the comments with me. I really appreciate you guys. If you like the content, like the way I work through the workouts and, you know, walk you through them verbally, please subscribe. If it's not for you, cool, man, we'll part as friends. But all right, man, that was day 43.